When you're first getting into photography and videography, the amount of accessories and pieces of gear you feel like you need to buy can be overwhelming, for sure. When I first started my photography journey, I solved this problem by prioritizing the gear that would be used on the highest percentage of shoots, while also being able to scale with future gear as I upgraded. Which is why one of the first pieces of camera gear that I purchased outside of the camera itself was the tripod. Tripods are so useful for so many photo and video scenarios, and if you get a good one, they can last you a really, really long time. So today I want to talk about why, if you're a beginner photographer, a tripod should probably be your first real gear investment outside of your camera and your lens. So the first reason a tripod is such a good option is the versatility. If you're a videographer, there's a good chance you're gonna use a tripod on basically every single shoot that you do. If you're making social media content, you need a tripod to set up to record yourself. And if you're a photographer, there's loads of studio scenarios and landscape photography that can be really elevated by using a tripod. A lockdown shot can add a ton of production value over a handheld shot. And on top of that, tripods are the base for more extensive camera rig setups. Like if you want to build out a slider setup, you still need a solid tripod at the base of that. You can also do the obvious pan and tilt movements really nicely with the tripod, and you can even cheat some more slider and kind of crane movements by lifting the tripod up onto two legs, and then you can kind of do this like push in, pull out kind of thing, or side to side. It's a little trick for you if you don't have a slider yet. The second reason a good tripod is a solid investment is that it has a very long life. Most mid-tier tripods like this one can support 10 to 20 pounds, no problem, which means the weight of your camera setup is probably never going to be an issue. You might be shooting on a little mirrorless entry-level camera now, but that same tripod could support a fully rigged out cinema camera. A decent tripod in the $100 to $300 range can last you a decade if you take good care of it. There's not many other pieces of gear you can say that about. Now, I am specifically talking about video tripods, even for photography, and there is a reason for that. The main difference between a photo tripod and a video tripod is the supported weight and the functionality of the tripod head. Many lightweight photo tripods won't support a heavier rigged out camera setup, but a nice, sturdy, solid tripod can still support a lightweight small camera. You also get fluid pan and tilt movements, which doesn't really affect photo in any negative way, but is a very nice video feature to have. Basically, I'm making the case here that if you shoot photo and video, you should probably get a video tripod because you can use it for both. Now, down the line, you can definitely get a photo tripod. For example, I do a lot of hikes and trips with my camera gear, and I'm not gonna put a huge bulky tripod like this on my backpack. That's where a really nice photo travel tripod comes in. But if you can only have one tripod, this is probably the way to go, unless the only thing you do is like hiking. Reason number 4 is the scalability of a tripod setup. Like I mentioned before, you can take a tripod and just have it like this and just have a nice lockdown shot, but you can build it into so much more. You can add accessories, you can clamp on different magic arms, friction arms and things onto the legs. You can have a slider set up on top. You can have lights, mics, extra monitors, all coming off of a tripod. No matter how big your production gets, a tripod is still a fundamental piece of equipment. I bought my first video tripod probably 5 or 6 years ago now, and in addition to this small rig one, I still bring it on every video shoot that I do. Because even though it's a little bit old and I bought kind of a mid-range one, it has scaled really nicely with my setup and it's still just as effective as when I bought it. So if you're still watching at this point in the video, you're probably considering getting a tripod. So I want to quickly just go over some things for you to look out for. First, as I mentioned before, whether it is a photo tripod or a video tripod. Unless you need something super lightweight for hikes or taking on an airplane, or you just know you're never going to shoot video ever, I'd recommend a video tripod if you can only get one. Next, the features. You want to look at the legs and the head. Most tripods can interchange the head, which means down the line, if you find that your tripod head doesn't have enough features built into it, you can take off the tripod head, keep the legs, save a bit of money, and get a nicer tripod head. When it comes to the legs, you're looking for something that has locks that are easy to use. You also don't want a tripod with too many leg segments. The more leg segments a tripod has, generally the less stable it's going to be, so 2 to 3 leg segments is usually really good. Also, it's more of a preference thing, but pay attention to how the legs lock and unlock. Some people like the little clasps, some people like the turny things. It's really a matter of preference. Then also look at the tripod feet. You can get tripods with rubber feet, spiked feet, feet that unscrew and you can screw in whatever you want. feet that look like this one on the small rig where they have rubber feet, but you can screw it back to a spike if you want to move it to the dirt. You can also get tripods with flat feet. Again, this is very much a preference thing and what are you going to do with the tripod, but it's something that you should be paying attention to. Then some features you want to look for in the tripod head. The big one is what plate are you using on top? How does the camera connect to the tripod? This one uses an Arca Swiss style plate. It's the agreed upon universal tripod plate, and it means that I can take my camera off my gimbal and put it right onto here. And then I can take it off of here and put it onto another tripod. And I can take it off that tripod and attach it to my Peak Design clip. They all use the same Arca Swiss design. And most tripods do, except for Manfrotto is one that they kind of have their own proprietary thing going on. Next thing you want to make sure is that the tripod is a fluid head if you're going the video route. Now there are different levels of fluid head tripods. Fluid head basically just means that there is some resistance in moving the camera back and forth and up and down. This is so that while you're recording video, you can make these movements and it appears seamless in the video. But not every fluid head is built the same. You can see this one here has an extra little dial right here. And this allows me to control the resistance of the fluid head. Meaning if I tighten this down really tight, then that movement is going to have a lot more resistance and move a lot more slowly. But if I'm shooting something a little more fast paced and I want something not quite as restrictive, I can unlock that all the way. And then the camera is gonna move a little bit easier. Still fluid, but just a bit easier. When it comes to price ranges for tripods and how much you should be spending, I would avoid a video tripod under $100. If you're going in the under $100 route, that's more of like the travel tripod range. That's fine for that kind of stuff. But once you get a nice sturdy tripod like this, it's a little bit of a red flag if it's coming in under $100. It means it's probably not built to the quality that you'll want. I would recommend that $100 to $300 range for a nice mid-range tripod. That will get 90% of people what they need. Now, if you're rigging out some Area Alexa or Red camera or something, this is probably gonna be a little bit too small for what you're looking for. It would still work, like I'm sure it would still hold the weight, but it just might not have all of the features that you want in a video tripod. But let's be honest, those people are not watching this video. This is for the beginners. Once you eventually get to that cinema level massive camera setup, then you might be inclined to go for the more like $500 to $1,000 tripods. But that being said, you probably could still get away with something like this even in those scenarios. So this $100 to $300 range where this tripod lands is in that bang to buck ratio where you're getting something with a lot of features that's really solid that will last you a very long time. I'll link this small rig tripod down in the description along with all my other camera gear if you want to check it out. You don't have to get this one specifically. There are a lot of good options in this price range. But that's all I have for you. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more. Let me know what was your first piece of camera gear. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you in the next one.